held each day 10 and 1. Admission is $6, and there is plenty of free parking. Motel 6 Ocala. See you at the gun show.
Ocala's information station, 1370 WOCA.
Ocala.
All right, 5 minutes after 11 o'clock. Thank you for tuning in. We had a conversation once about bipolar. There was a lady in the news. Actually, she was arrested, right? And she had bipolar as one of her defenses. And it came up. And it was a very debated topic. And it was at a time, this was 3, 4, maybe 5 years ago, when we didn't really understand what that meant. Or at least, when I say we, I mean you and I, not humanity. Dr. Adelaide Robb is on the phone. She is a oh my gosh, that's a long word. Psychopharmacologist with ongoing research studies in mood disorder. And she wants to talk to us about new treatment options for children and teens with bipolar disorder. Good morning, Dr. Robb.
Good morning.
Where are you? Where are you calling from?
I'm calling from New York City.
All right. Well, thank you for being on the air with us. Yeah, we've come a long way, and I'm sure that your profession was ahead of us by a decade or so. But now that we've come to grips with the fact that this is a real and treatable condition, that must make it a lot easier for you as a doctor.
It really does. You're right. 10 years ago, we didn't have many FDA-approved treatments for kids and teens with bipolar disorder. And now we've got a lot of options.
Are we better at diagnosing it?
I think we've come a long way with that as well. I think now when we see kids who aren't sleeping, who are acting silly, who are taking the car without a driver's license and going all over the Beltway and ordering things off the internet, and $600 worth of video games show up at the house, parents know something's going on. They start the quest by going to the pediatrician to make sure nothing's medically going on, and then they get sent on to a psychiatrist to get that diagnosis.
So $600 worth of video games show up at the house, and I mean, that's not necessarily. I mean, it could be something else, right? It could just be foolish spending, right?
Well, it could be, but most kids, before they do some foolish spending, at least ask their parents if they can get something. But manic kids don't even ask. They don't even tell their parents they've ordered things until the boxes start showing up via the delivery services at the house.
Is bipolar and depression the same?
So bipolar disorder is moving between depression and that manic stuff, the happy, silly, goofy stuff. There are other people who just have depression, and they don't have bipolar disorder. And the medicines that we're talking about today are not used to treat that. They're only used to treat the mania.
Is it mostly girls?
No, it's actually, bipolar disorder has an even distribution, one guy to one gal.
Oh, really? Okay, yeah. So if I know a young person, would it be mostly young people, or could somebody 40s and whatever, can an older person be bipolar?
An older person can have bipolar as well. Most people who are in their 40s with bipolar have had it for a long time. They know they have the diagnosis. They've been in treatment. They've been on medication.
So once you're on medication, are you kind of stuck with that medication for the rest of your life, or do you ever outgrow bipolar or get cured of it?
People don't really get cured of bipolar disorder. There are some people who've been on treatment for a long period of time, and we may be able to taper down and decrease the number of medicines you're taking. But just like high blood pressure, it's one of those disorders that you have for the long term.
You use the word mania. What does that exactly mean?
That is the elevated or happy part of the mood. That's somebody who is laughing, silly, on top of the world. Their thoughts are going 100 miles an hour. They're talking really quickly. They have unlimited energy. They're starting all kinds of new projects and activities. In an adult with bipolar disorder, they might max out all their credit cards and buy 3 cars in a weekend that they don't need.
Wow.
Wow. Okay, and then how soon after that do they drop to becoming very sad? I mean, is it like in the next day or the next week?
It depends on the person. So some people cycle quickly, and one of the things about kids is they tend to go up and down in a shorter period of time. So you might have 1 week where you're silly, and the next week you're down. In adults, it tends to be spread out a little bit more, and they might be depressed for a couple of months and then manic for 2 months as well.
It almost seems like the person you want to be around is the one that's manic. That's because it sounds like they're more fun. Yeah. So if we see this though in our children, then there's a sign right there that we need to get some treatment for them. Is the treatment across the board? Like, how do we know if it's a pharmaceutical or a therapeutic, or maybe we need to take them on a road trip and go camping or something? Does any of that help?
I think that every child is different, but what we talk about in child psychiatry for bipolar is that medication is an important part of treatment, but it's not the only thing in treatment. So meds are helpful to stabilize the mood. Therapy is very helpful, both individual counseling for the kid, but also some therapy to help the parents manage things. And while camping is fun, physical activity is good for kids with bipolar disorder, but so is making sure that they get appropriate diet and plenty of sleep.
Oh, you rate bipolar. You say bipolar 1 disorders. Is there any that's worse than the other?
So bipolar 1 disorder is the most serious form. It's the kids with real full-blown mania like we've been talking about. There's bipolar 2, and there are not medications approved for bipolar 2. So when we talk about treating with medication, we're really talking about bipolar 1.
All right, I'm going to ask you to leapfrog a little bit simply because we have very little time. And Robin and I are kind of asking you to teach us about bipolar, like from the kindergarten level. What I'd like you to do is leapfrog and talk to the people who already know everything Robin and I have been asking because they have a child with bipolar, and tell them what they want to hear about the new treatment options that they can have access to.
So the new treatment, it's the first one out in 5 years. It's called Safras. And there are a couple of things that are great about it. One, you don't have to mess around with finding the right dose. The starting dose is usually the effective dose, so what you go home with is going to work for your child. Number 2, kids oftentimes will try and hide their medicine or keep it in their mouth and spit it out when mom's back is turned. This medicine actually melts under the tongue. That's how you take it. So when your child is holding it in their mouth, they're doing the right thing and it's being absorbed. And I think that it's always great to have another option, especially if your child with bipolar may have tried something else and it didn't work.
Wow.
Okay. You do know, I'll have to tell you honestly, I don't know the doctors in our community that would know about this, but I'm sure that the people who are dealing with this know the doctors. So
yes.
That being said, do you have a website we can direct our listeners to?
I actually do. It's called Safras.com. That's SAPHRIS.com. That'll tell you about the medicine, that it's approved for kids 10 and up, what are common side effects, and more about bipolar disorder.
And there's another website in my notes here, childrensnational.org. Is that right?
That's right, and that's the hospital where I work in Washington, D.C.
Oh, I see. Okay. Well, good information. I know you have lots of interviews today, so don't hopefully it's not getting on your nerves. but trying to make a silly joke right there. Dr. Adelaide Robb, thank you so much for doing what you're doing and for delivering the message you delivered. And please forgive us for asking all the elementary questions about bipolar.
I think it was actually very helpful because there may be parents out there that don't know what's going on, and you've asked just the right questions.
Oh, I'm glad you felt that way. Well, thank you for that. Well, have a great morning, and you're definitely welcome back anytime.
Okay, thank you for having me.
Thank you, Doctor. We'll take a break. We'll be right back.
The weather is brought to you by MyFW.